friends. Today I'd like to share with you some thoughts around the right questions that you need to ask for certain designations of people. The first kind of designation we're looking out for is of a sales profile. Now, I'm sure that most of you are constantly looking out for mid level and senior level salespeople, and these questions could be of immense help to you when you're looking for the right candidate. Remember, I'm not going to be talking about the years of experience and the basic skills. I'm talking about the soft skills that are important for any good salesperson. Now, I've written this down, so I'm going to read out each question and I'm going to read it out twice and give you the answer as well in terms of what you should be listening to. At the same time, I will also try and explain what I'm trying to say out here. So, the five basic parameters of soft skills that are required in any salesperson is first ambition, second, integrity, third, adaptability, fourth, customer centric, being customer centric, and fifth, being proactive. I repeat, ambition, integrity, adaptability, customer centric, and proactive. These are the five basic soft skills required by any salesperson if they need to be doing well at their job. Now, obviously, to judge these five parameters, you need to ask certain questions. You can't just presume. So, I'm going to give you certain questions. I'm going to give you one question for each of these aspects, and I will also give you the answer that you should try and listen for. So, the first thing is regarding the ambition. So, the question is, where do you see yourself within our organization 5 years from now? I repeat, where do you see yourself within our organization 5 years from now? What you should be listening for. Now, high performers should be able to list a series of accomplishments and achievements from the past, which will help you predict their future success. Remember, a salesperson is someone who's going to be able to list down what he or she has achieved in the past so that you could predict in terms of what to expect in the future. Look for candidates who are aligning their goals with your organization's success and who treat the question as an exploration of ways to meet the job description. So, whenever you're listening to an answer, you need to listen for, of course, the accomplishments that like I mentioned earlier, but also you need to also look out for candidates who are trying to align their goal to your company's success. It's not only about them, right? And who are also looking at this as a way to explore as to how they could be growing in the organization. If they're not asking you questions, if they're going as a one way, okay, it perhaps is not the right candidate. You need someone who's asking you questions and looking to build in terms of what he's trying to communicate in terms of his goals and his ambitions. The second aspect that I would judge is the integrity aspect. Now, the question out here, and I read it verbatim, is tell me about a time when you had to handle a tough problem that challenged fairness and ethical issues. What did you do? I repeat the question. Tell me about a time when you had to handle a tough problem that challenged fairness and ethical issues. What did you do? Now, what to look out for in terms of the answer? This answer reveals the candidate's ability to solve problems in the face of adversity and actually influence the process. If a candidate does not present a specific experience or a scenario lacks or their scenario lacks complexity, it could be a red flag. Now, what I'm trying to communicate out here is that it is next to impossible that any candidate in the past experience would have not had uh, you know issues where it would be, they had to deal with being unfair, or they had a dilemma being fair or unfair, or there were some ethical issues. If a particular candidate is not able to, talk about such adversity issues, uh, there is something that they're hiding, so that should raise a red flag for you. Now, let me tell you, no candidate will be perfect, right? But one who demonstrates the willingness to go against a popular opinion, right, reveals their transparency and trustworthiness. There will be a lot of opinions which are common in their organization, but if he or she has actually gone against the common opinion, and that is something that he or she is communicating during the interview, is the one who's actually coming out more trustworthy, is coming out more transparent. This should translate into someone who values longevity of client relationships over short term sale. I'm sure all of you agree, you don't want to deal with a salesperson who's just coming to make a sale to you. You want to hire a person who's looking at building a long term relationship. Whether you are hiring it for yourself or you're hiring it for your client, you want someone who's going to be looking at in terms of long term relationship. This question will communicate a lot to you. If that guy has sold something to a customer, even if it was unfair to sell it to the customer, you're not sure whether this guy is going to be able to build a long term, relationship for you. But if he stood up for being ethical, if he stood up for being fair, then that guy is the one who you need to hire. The third question is the adaptability. Uh, Adaptability is a very important trait, and it comes with almost all profiles, right? So just keep this in mind. Tell me about a time when the policy or price structure or product changed the last minute. How how did you handle the situation? Now this is at a time, when the policy or a product change happened last minute. The salesperson has already got something, on the field. It's almost a done deal, and suddenly things have changed. How did he react to that particular change? What you want to look out for in the answer. An answer like this reveals a candidate who can think on their feet and who shows creative problem solving to overcome challenges. So, obviously, policy changes will happen, but when you're hiring a salesperson, you want to hire someone who can think on their feet, who can take quick decisions, who can, who doesn't need to come back cribbing to you saying that, oh my God, I was not able to do this particular sale because you changed the policy. You need someone who can think quickly, who can come up with creative solutions, who can actually come up with a solution which solves a customer's problem. Look at signs that a candidate can keep positive attitude and even under high pressure or while the situation is stressful. Obviously, when things change in an organization, there is a lot of pressure that comes from the particular organization management. Stress comes, and therefore you want to look out for someone who can deal with the stress and who can, adjust to the entire way the change that is happening. I want to give you an example out here. In the year 2011, one of our vendors had a big policy change as compared to what was happening in the industry. Now, there were around four competitors uh, in the industry, and one suddenly changed the way the landscape worked, right? And there was a huge policy change, and obviously, everybody in the recruitment industry had a human cry, and everybody was agitated, and they lost a lot of business that particular year. But it was a business decision that they needed to take. What I can tell you is that there were around 4 or 5 players at that point of time. Out of those 4 or 5 players, uh, right now, okay, that is that only one player standing. The other four died. Of course, a new competitor came into picture at that point of time, but everybody also adapted to the same policy change. Adapted lately, they try to take advantage of this, this policy change of the competitor, but ultimately they all adapted to the same policy change. Remaining four died, because they did it late and they didn't take the business call correctly. The one who did took it first, all their team members adjusted. Today they are the number one company in that particular field, right? And we still are building a very strong relationship with them. That's because their sales team was able to adapt. Their sales team was responsive to what the management was asking for, and they knew that what the management was taking as a decision was correct. So you need to look at people who are able to handle these kind of situations. The fourth aspect is someone who is customer centric. Very very important. I'm sure you agree with me. So a sample question that I'd like to ask is, you've got a new product to sell. Walk me through the sales process. I repeat, you have a new product to sell. Walk me through the sales process. What is it that you're looking for, or what you're listening to? Look for an answer that indicates that the candidate knows how to position themselves as a strategic consultant who helps people solve their business problem rather than just a salesperson. How many times have we come across people who want to just come and sell their product to you, who want to just come and sell their service to you, not knowing whether or not that is actually going to solve your business problem? Look for a candidate who's asking you what your problem is, who's actually positioning the company in a way as a problem solver or a strategic consultant versus just someone who's going to come and do a sale to you. That's the kind of person you are looking for. You need a person who's able to listen to the customer and give a solution according to that. That is something that you'll be able to judge from the answer that he or she gives you. The fifth aspect, which I'd like to judge in terms of soft skills, is whether a person is proactive. Describe a time when you've received criticism or feedback from your sales manager or a client. How did you react? The criticism or feedback usually comes from your one up or two ups or from a particular client. And you need to see how a sales manager is reacting to that criticism or feedback. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're listening? Salespeople are accustomed to constant rejection, but they should be able to absorb criticism, analyze it, and take it constantly to improve. If a salesperson is not okay with rejection, that person is not a salesperson. If a person is not able to absorb that criticism or that feedback and is not taking it in his or her stride to improve, that person is an extremely poor salesperson, because he or she will be dejected to even pick up the phone and meet the next customer. A salesperson, and we've heard this very often, a salesperson needs to be able to listen to the answer no, not now, maybe later. These are aspects of rejection which a salesperson needs to be able to listen to. And during this answer, you should be able to judge whether he or she is able to listen to no as an answer. Right? The best candidate are the ones who want feedback so that they know they can improve. The idea is, a good candidate is the one who is not only just taking feedback well, but who's asking for feedback because he or she wants to improve. Try and judge whether that is coming out of the answer. They ask a lot of questions, are accountable for mistakes, and take actions to remedy the situation. Now, what I've seen is a good salesperson is always asking a lot of questions from their seniors. Is asking questions as to how can I improve this? What can I do differently? How would you react to this particular situation? What mistake did I do out here? If that is something that you see that salesperson has done, if he or she is able to share instances where he's gone back to his higher up and has asked questions, has taken it positively, and has taken remedy for improvement, that's a good salesperson to have. So guys, these are the 5 questions that I like to ask a salesperson. I repeat, we're looking for a person who's proactive, a person who's customer centric, a person who's adaptable, who has integrity, and who's ambition. These are the five aspects that you need to look for a salesperson. Anybody between 2 years to 10 years of experience will be able to give fair answers to these questions. And of course, do not compare the answer of a person with 10 years experience with the same answer of the person with 2 years of experience. Try and judge as to which would be an answer close to what we have spoken about, and try and hire a person according to that. I hope this helps you hire the right salesperson for your clients or for yourselves. Thank you so much for your attention and have a great week ahead. Thank you.